Welcome to the Retiring Well podcast. My name is Charlie Jordan. I'm your host, and I am so glad you joined me today. Our mission here at Retiring Well is simple. We want to help you do just that, to retire well. We're going to look at more than just the money and examine multiple aspects of life and retirement and how your wealth can be used to improve your life and the life of others. This is Retiring Well. Hey everyone, it's Charlie. This is going to be one of our Retiring Well Tips episodes, and the focus of today's tip is what I call the retirement grace period. You know, the decision to retire, it's a difficult one. It's a significant life change, and for that reason, many people are nervous that they're going to get it wrong. And when the inevitable difficulty of that transition becomes a reality, it's normal to feel like you made a mistake. So whether you are preparing for retirement or just retired, and maybe you're wondering if you made the right decision, let me introduce you to this concept of the retirement grace period. Now, normally a grace period is a time that's immediately after a major purchase or decision when we have the option for a do-over. And with retirement, you may or may not have that luxury. So for the retirement grace period, here's what we're going to think about. Giving yourself the grace to move through this life transition without perfection. Now, I know that's a difficult thing and a difficult task for many of us out there, but I want to think about this again because these major life transitions we go through are hard. Think about when you went from being single to married. That was a transition. From having no children to becoming a parent. That's an easy one to think about, a major transition of life, a major difficult transition of life. These shifts were complicated, they were certainly imperfect, and they're full of a lot of trial and error. But regardless of your preparation, there's a lot of quote unquote figuring it out as you go with these life changes. And retirement is a similar transition experience. The other thing I'll say about these other transitions of life, while they were hard, I think most people will look back and say they were good. Good things came of them. They were a major change of life, but for most people, they would look back and say, this was a good part of my life. This was a change that I am profoundly satisfied with. So again, retirement has a similar transition experience. For most, work life has dominated most of their life. 30, 40 years of their lives have been spent in the workplace. So suddenly it's no longer the center. And it's not just the work itself. Your source of income, your social network, your calendar, your home life, everything seems to change when you retire. Not to mention the potential impact on identity and purpose and ambition. Yet many believe the preparation for this transition is primarily about dollars and cents. And they're actually shocked when they struggle with the change. The retirement grace period is a time between your retirement date and the day you reach what we'll call the new normal. I have a mentor in this industry by the name of Susan Bradley. She runs the Financial Transitionist Institute. You probably heard me talking about her before, but she talks about the new normal of transition in this way. She says, people are in a state of flow. They are energized and they live their lives with a sense of comfort and predictability. They have a fresh appreciation for what it means to have completed a major life transition and have the confidence to thrive when life changes again. That's a great goal. Think about this new normal having gone through a very difficult transition, and it also now gives you the confidence to do that again because we know life is going to change. But before you get there, you're going to experience the impact of change, and it can be messy oftentimes. So one of the ways that you can give yourself some grace is in your retirement spending. Most new retirees cannot believe how much everything suddenly costs. What costs $5 before retirement costs $5 after retirement, but it feels different when you're spending out of your assets than out of your paycheck that's coming in on a regular basis. you're going to have to give yourself a little time to get used to that. You also have to get used to just what your true regular spending really is. I tell people it's going to take a while to get into your groove, to understand what life really costs you in this new environment that you're in. But you need to give yourself some grace in that. It's going to be messy. You're going to have some trial and error. It's not going to be perfect. And knowing that going in, I think, gives us a lot of confidence to just address the messy part of this transition. It also allows you to plan. But as the great philosopher Mike Tyson once said, everyone has a plan until they're punched in the mouth. And sometimes these life transitions can feel like that. Give yourself some grace in your spending, knowing that it's not going to be perfect and it's going to take a little time to get used to. The other main area that you can give yourself some grace in is in your time. It's going to take a while to get in what feels like a healthy routine for you. Many retirees suddenly find themselves too busy. They're saying yes to everything. Watch yourself, because you can find yourself too busy. Some of the most busy people I know are retirees. But retirement should be a time for autonomy and agency and freedom, things you've been looking forward to maybe that you didn't potentially have with your work life. Don't allow yourself to become enslaved to a calendar that doesn't reflect your goals and priorities. But this will take time and some experimentation to get right. Deciding to retire can feel risky. Most people want to try to get it perfectly right. Know that you will not. There's going to be something that doesn't go according to plan, and it's not part of the idyllic retirement commercial. There may be adjustments you need to make, whether it's in your financial plan, how you spend your time, or where to find your purpose and fulfillment. But just give yourself the grace to figure it out along the way. It's really important to recognize that your individual situation is unique to you, and that anything we discuss today should not be considered legal or tax or investment advice. But you may have heard this podcast and have questions or want to talk to someone about your personal situation. We have ways you can connect with our team. If you'd like to connect with an advisor or have any questions for us to answer here on the podcast in a future listener question episode, you can shoot us an email at retiringwell@brightworth.com. Also, one of my favorite things we offer is the Retiring Well Connection. It's a monthly email newsletter. It covers all areas of life and retirement, both the money side and the personal side. And we search for great content all over the web, pull together 3 to 4 pieces each month, whether that's a podcast, article, book recommendation, etc. Pull together things that we think our readers and our listeners will find interesting and valuable. So there's a link to subscribe to that in the show notes. So make sure you get your Retiring Well connection each month. And finally, you're going to hear us reference the elements of retirement frequently around here. We've developed a tool to help you think through what matters most to you in life, in retirement, and where you can prioritize your financial decision making to retire well. So to get your copy of what we call the 10 Elements of Retirement Self-Assessment, see the link in the show notes. If you enjoyed this podcast, please help us by rating and subscribing so you don't miss any future episodes. That's all for us today. I'm Charlie Jordan. Have a great day.